So I want to ask about this Dim Mak release. A few reasons why. Of course, it's an incredible track. Back to that. But I've been having a lot of these conversations with producers like yourself, and it's so cool to see somebody like Steve Aoki and even Spinnin, of course, is European, but like these larger artists giving platforms to people like you and I in the tech and house space, right? Man. So they acknowledge that, like, all right, this is a little more than a small pool of people now. You know what I mean? There's like a movement. So,
dude, it's crazy. You're seeing so many of these like big room producers and EDM producers that are making like tech house tracks.
Alesso, David Guetta, like,
oh yeah,
I'm down with it, bro. Like, if I could get David Guetta to play my track at Ultra on the main stage, like, you're good. You're in the clear. That's like Swedish House Mafia playing your track or something.
Dude, it's crazy. If I look, my music's been supported by all these
big
massive
boys,
EDM DJs,
Martin Garrix, dude,
that I would have never ever sort of anticipated. And I'm like, I think Martin Garrix was one of the first ones that I was like, that's
which track did he support?
Octane.
That's a hit. That's a fucking hit.
Thanks, man. And then from there it's like David Guetta and Afrojack and Oliver Heldens and all these sort of main stage name dudes, and I'm like, this is weird.
Where are they playing? Do they really like this?
Man, but Tech House taking over. Tech House is taking over, and I think the style that I'm writing is like a little bit more like polished, and I definitely try to go for like a really sort of clean polished mix down of sorts, so I can see I grew up on those clean polished EDM big room type mix downs, and so I do, my ear definitely gravitates to that a bit, so I can kind of see a little bit how they might be interested in some of that, and so
it's good music.
I'm nothing but supportive. I'm stoked. They dig it.
It's awesome. And that track too, like your synth work on that was super creative. Like,
thank you, bro.
How did you find inspiration on that track? Did you think, okay, I'm gonna send this track to Dim Mak, or did it just come to you and it fit, or like what was the story of this one specifically?
No, I never really write songs ever for like a specific angle.
Okay.
I'll open up a project, start throwing some sounds in, get a kick drum down, a clap, and then I'll kind of just follow from there. I'll be like, okay, like this kick sounds great with this clap. What's going to be the best hi-hat that sounds great with this kick and this clap? Okay, once I get the hi-hat done, what's going to sound great with these three? And then just keep adding what I think is going to sound great with all of those, and kind of just let the track sort of create itself that way, versus and sometimes I'll go into it with a bit of an idea or a style a little bit, because you do need a little bit of direction, but ultimately if I kind of follow a different rabbit hole that isn't the initial direction that I set out to make, I don't give a shit. I'm like, hey, this sounds dope. I like, if it's sounding dope, keep going along. That's kind of been the mindset I've had from day one, and I feel like it lends and it allows me to come up with some really creative ideas, because I'm not trying to hold back and be like, oh no, that's not the idea I had. Like, I'm just gonna I'm not afraid to get weird, try something new, and end up in this place that I never thought I'd be in. So that's definitely kind of how Tumbling started. Tumbling, like the wub 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 bit, like initially I think I had started it for like more of a bass tune that was at like 145, and then like I was like, oh, I wonder if I really slowed that down and made it into like, and and it sat much better in that space and ended up working out great. And
wow,
so
that's sick. That's very creative of you. Let it happen. You just let it happen. Flow. You're not afraid to get uncomfortable. There's no box that you put yourself in.
No, not at all. And like I think because I like come from writing a total different style and a different genre, I'm open to writing absolutely everything. And I write a ton, and I definitely don't release everything that I write. And so because of that, I'm also very okay with just like I'm just down to write whatever, and it turns out to be a hit, sick. If it turns out to be absolutely nothing, that's also sick, and it's not time wasted. I'm just gonna write another one. I kind of just, I've gotten to the point where I can write them pretty quickly, and so it's just a matter for me of just trying to keep writing better and keep writing more, and if I can just keep doing that, then I know, if tomorrow I don't write a good song, I'm not really worried, because I think in a few days I'll probably will be able to.
Yeah. You don't put the pressure on yourself.
Yeah, and I think that way, if I don't put a lot of pressure, I don't like overthink and second guess myself when I'm making decisions. I'm like, oh, well, if this song in the end turns out that it sucks, well, then it sucks, and I'll just write another one that might not suck.
Got to make mistakes to learn from them, right, Alex?
Exactly. That's it, man. That's it.
That's so cool. I while we're on the topic, I'd like to ask you more about it, because when you're in the dubstep world, I'm not familiar with dubstep production, but I'm familiar with dubstep music enough to know that you got to try this, you got to try that. There's no rhyme or reason. You mentioned house music, right? You put a kick down and some percussion, and then you kind of have this room to groove in almost, right?
Yeah.
You feel like when you get that percussion, you get that sort of movement, that there's that dubstep aspect of I can do whatever the fuck I want? Or like, what's your mindset when you're getting into the creative process?
So like, I always start with my drums. Like you said, I definitely, and my thoughts are, especially in tech house, the drums are the most important by far. By far. Some people are like, no, it's the bass line. I'm like, no, you can have a real dirt simple bass line with some crazy drums, and that's
so true.
That's a fucking tune. So what I try to do is I try to make my drums absolutely as full and as banging as early as I can. Because then I know, it doesn't matter what I put as a bass line, it's going to be banging. So I really, try to lock that drum groove in. And then from there, I usually, work through my, what I'm going to do for a bass. It might not be, like a straight bass line, but I kind of want to have an idea of what the bass is going to do, and then write something like that. And then I usually dive right to vocals pretty quick. I feel like I lean quite heavily in the vocal. They're like one of my go-tos for,
it's a signature sound for you, man. You do this awesome vocal chop and wordplay that's so cool. It's all, binge watch. That's kind of like what makes him cool. I love your sound with that too.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, dude, he's got some killer records too.
And he's insane.
He's got some funny ones, man. He's a funny dude. He's hilarious to watch.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. I lead to some vocals, fill it in with some synths. Who knows? Kind of go from there, and kind of sculpt it all around. But drums are key. If the drums aren't banging, the track's not banging. That's that's it.
That is the advice that we're looking for the producers out there. Hey, what's up? And thanks for watching that video. You looking for more content now? I got your back. Go to my YouTube channel right now, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you turn on all notifications so you never miss any upcoming exclusive artist interviews, Sherm in the Booth clips, new music, live sets, and more. This is your one-stop shop for everything electronic music. Cheers.